Look at how lush and green the forest is. Wherever the sunlight breaks through, everything wants a chance. So what changed? What gave the forest a chance to have all this undergrowth? And this is cane weed, by the way. It's kind of like a grass, you know, like river cane and bamboo. Same family, but this is about as big as this gets, and it makes an excellent fire starter in the fall when it dies back. But as you can see, something has happened up in here that opened up the canopy. Let's go see what happened. Here are some poisonous pokeweed berries. Doing really well. They just need sunlight to do well. So again, what happened in this area, in the heavy hardwood forest, she calls that, there's a tree that has fallen. And apparently it is the only tree I see in the area that is down in this manner anytime recent. It's hard to believe one tree would open up this much forest. Let's go see. Let's see what happened. Oh, it was a huge tree. Okay. You guys there. Way out there. But of course, then there's a second one down, and then there's the top broke out of this one. So when one large tree came down, along with it, the same storm probably took this tree right here. It's another bottom, landing in the same direction. And then it took the top out of this one about halfway up. And that opened up the canopy up here to let the sunlight through. And because of it, all this greenness took place. In that one catastrophic moment when the wind blew down an ancient tree. Matter of fact, blew down 2 ancient trees. Well, if you'll notice, there's a pattern. There's an old log right here. You see it? There's my finger. Same thing happened. I won't even guess how many years ago that was. That's a long time because that tree is in a hard state of decay. Several more, but they're all lying in the same direction. Hi, this is Mike from Mike's Wild World. Out on a kind of wet and rainy day today. Got a reprieve right now. It's not cold, but it is certainly wet. And it's so good to be in the forest at this time because you can move so quietly. The leaves don't crackle. You know, everything's trying to take a little bit of shelter, but you know, it's going to get out. They're going to get out and eat any time now. And this green space is something I'm kind of familiar with. Since I grew up on the river, we used to take our goat down to the river we only had one goat. Well, we had a couple, but over years, but we had one. And we would take her down and stake her out and let her graze in the river bottom while we played in the creeks and stuff. It was a great childhood. This is like home. Wow. Now, if you're new to being in the woods or just starting your journey as learning, this is what everybody tells you about vines that have hairs on them. And you leave them alone. Don't play with them. They're not muscadine. They're not grapes. They are, in fact, leaves of 3. Leave them be. Now, I won't postulate whether this is a poison oak or a poison ivy. I have a theory that poison ivy would be what climbs. And because I've seen so much poison oak, it tends to stay low bush and towards the ground. It doesn't really climb up trees, has been my experience. But anyway, leave these fuzzy vines alone. Don't touch them. Don't do anything. You can see rolls around. Looks like it's almost got moss on it. Don't touch it. It's all over the place. But as you can see, it's not really on the ground. I don't see any on the ground. I see muscadine, low-growing muscadine. That's pretty much what you're looking at. And then some small shrubs and trees and oaks and things like that, and the cane grass. And briars, young green briars. But here is an entire tree taken over by what I would call poison ivy. Leave it alone. Okay, so here's one of the vines. It does not have hairs all over it. It is a muscadine vine, well anchored in the top of this tree. Unusually, for this one, I don't normally see mushrooms growing out of the vines unless they're old and compromised, but this one doesn't appear to be either. It could just be in the surface that stays damp. Now, you might be tempted to just whack that and go with the idea that there's a lot of water in there. There is a fair amount of water, but there's plenty of water in other places. Please don't cut the muscadine vines, because this thing goes up to the top of the canopy, and that's where all the tentacles are that hang on to the tree, or tendrils as they call them. Down here you'll notice there aren't any. That's because it's self-pruned. As it went, it didn't need them anymore, so it let them go. That's how it survives. It self-prunes. But there's so many muscadines that come off of a vine like this that feed the forest. If you've ever been fortunate enough to be in a muscadine forest when they're all falling off and they're fermenting and they're lying on the ground, it is, in fact, intoxicating. Now, I don't mean you'll get drunk off of it, but it smells really good. And I have actually seen squirrels who have eaten so many muscadines that they are intoxicated. I've seen them fall off limbs before, stand on the ground and roll over. It's quite comical to watch, actually. But yes, they do get fermented. And back in the day, people used to make muscadine wine. I guess they still do, but not off the wild ones probably. But it is a treat to see, and it is a treat to eat when you're in here at the right time and you can get them. If you're fortunate enough to come across a standing stump like this, you look out through here, the reason I say it's a stump, you can actually see the tree as it fell years ago, enough for it to decay completely. But part of it is still remaining. Here's the bark. And this is okay. It's already rotted away. Okay? There's a little oak tree growing in there. I see some worms of some sort. Yep. And I see this little tree. Now, is that going to grow in there and make a big tree? For a while. Let me get my glasses. Now that used to be a tree, okay? And the squirrel put his oak in there. I mean, put his acorn in there. And that's what you saw, and that's how much root there was. Considerable, right? I mean, it starts to be green right there, so this was all in the ground. Or in the tree, I should say. They're not going to live to adulthood, so I don't think I'm harming anything by pulling that out. Now, but what I do want you to know is that this is probably fatwood. Let's see if we can take a hump. It's pretty strong. Wow. Thought I'd be able to get these off quicker than that. I can already smell it. So you see, this piece isn't rotten in here. Find my sheath. So this piece that I pulled off smells like very good fatwood. Now it's still, you know, it's kind of wet around the outside, and I'd want to shave that down to use it. But this whole piece here, this whole trunk, not the whole trunk, but pieces on it are fatwood. It's quite a find in a rainy forest when everything is wet. It's great to have a drop pouch. They stay out of the way when you don't need them. They're available when you do. There are tons of these bushes like this. That is a blueberry. I'm going to call them wild blueberries because they're in the wild, but I have reason to believe that this place was occupied at some point. There's another one. And what I understand is that when blueberry bushes get really old, they quit producing blueberries. Sometimes maybe they're too far apart, maybe they don't have pollinators. But I've been in this forest for years, never seen a blueberry on that. This place has not been inhabited for 50, maybe 60 years. These are very old blueberry plants. That's the spider. It's raining. That's how he protects himself. In a little ball. But how did he get in the middle of these two trees? Holy! Coming down pretty good out here. This is a good place to maybe put up a tarp. If you can hear me for all the rain. Whew. Okay, let's get a chair. I'm tired of squatting. Hey, I actually got it. I'm gonna do it with my hat. Oh, that is so much better than squatting on these old tired feet. I see water ponding right over there, and I'll use that to refill my drinking jug with. And I have no idea if this is going to get worse or better. So I'm going to get me a dry tarp out, make a little place for the camp. Nah, I don't need that much tarp. I don't think I need it. We got in the middle, I hope. There we go. There we go. Boy's tired. Whew. Now I'm not really near a water source. There's a creek down that way and maybe another one back over that way, but they're just going to be full of junk. The water's coming down in such a fashion that it reminded me I need to do the same. So, wish me luck. I want my hat on my head. And I want my raincoat. And then I will be back momentarily. Okay. The other side's doing it too. There we go. So yeah, if I had something pulled up here, that'd be nice. If there was a ridge line over the top of that. And it's possible with these two yarns, I can pick the middle up. Whew. That's better. More headroom. Going to keep this side draining. And keep that side draining. I'm going to have to help it from time to time. There we go. Okay, so I'm kind of letting my feet dry out a little bit. Shoes got really wet today. One of our newer canisters. Pot support and the canister support side. Fits right on, like so. And you remember the little gas stove in the last video about I got a new gas stove? Well, there it is right there. Let's see if we can fire this thing up and get something good going. I got a pan full of water running off the back over here. Make us up some coffee, maybe something else. Oh, that does spin around. I didn't realize that. Okay, pot support back on. Fuel off. This is a bag, it's supposed to be a little bit waterproof. It's got my camera gear in it, so kind of keep it inside the bag, so it's waterproof over waterproof. Look, it's a match. Oh my God, do people still use matches? Is it possible that they don't light when it's wet? You see that? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Whoa, got one. Looky there. Looky there. All right. Crank her up. It's good. Now, very moist. I just threw these in today and they were fine at the house. So this humidity has all but just killed this box of matches. See, it's already boiling around the edges. What do you think? Pretty good, right? I mean, that's rainwater I just put in there and it's already boiling. So, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. I have hot water in my cup, so I won't pour it in first. There we go. 1 cup full. Now, the thing about the insulated cup is I can set it down on my tarp and it won't burn it. So the idea is to put my water bag under one of these sides of the tarp and fill it up. It's kind of frothy. Coffee. See my cute little cutting board? The missus found that for me. Said, oh, that just has to go home with Michael. It's for him in his little cooking bag. And I had to agree with her. It's like, oh, yes, it is. That is for Michael in his little cooking bag. One is make sure I get all the juice off of this. So we got some, there you go, mushrooms. Now, these are not your average mushrooms. These are marinated mushrooms. And I think the flavor is just amazing. Remember when I said I had another way to start a fire other than those damp matches? In this day and age, if you go in the woods and you don't carry a mini Bic, something that simple, then you've lost the ability to be reasonable. I know ferro rods are fine, matches, waterproof matches, wax hickeys, butane lighters, whatever else, blow torches, I don't know, but there's really not much unless it's really, there we go. The flame of life. The eternal flame. I think it's Gilligan. Yep. Okay. Are we going gourmet today? I don't think so. You know, this is kind of along the lines of that Carolina Chris guy. He's got all the prep, man. And then Bear, you know, with JourneyofBear, we did that meet up in camp, and we went up to Jumping Off Rock, and we showed you Whitewater Falls with another camp down that way. And just a great guy. So if you haven't seen those videos, there'll be links to them. And you can find them. So there's a little pineapple, mushrooms, oh, isn't that sweet? That is just sweet, man. So what I'm going to do, put a little bit of olive oil in there. I don't know if it's a virgin or not. Let that start to simmer. Look at that. Let that simmer. See how low can it go? We're going to get some of the water out of these mushrooms and pineapples. And then we'll add some sauce back in, I hope. Now it's not level, of course, so we'll see how this is going to work. Yeah, that's pretty good. A little pepperoni. Oh yeah. This is salsa, and it's mild salsa. No hot chilies or anything like that. I don't really go for those. Even when it says mild, I'm suspicious. But this is one of the store brands. Ouch! That's a popping, baby. Okay. There we go. It's still, you know, that is extremely hot right there. Let's turn it down some more. I'm going to try this little stick of string cheese and see if it melts in there. Do you have trouble with that? No, geez. Come on. All right, wet fingers. Ooh, you can do it. You can do it. It's just a pack of cheese. You could cut it, I suppose. I have a knife. Good Lord. Should not be that difficult. A little mozzarella in there. Looks good. Now the handle's starting to get warm. Just barely on. I don't know if you can see it or not. It's on, but wow. And that starts to simmer just immediately through this, you know, thin pan. And that's just going to soften that cheese, I hope. Throw in some whole pepperonis. Yes, this is pizza without a crust. Ouch. That decided to pop. Oh yeah, that cheese is doing its thing. It's not the best system. I do not like using the plate this way. Chuck. 50 right there. Wow. Boy, is that hot. I'm thinking the way I'm going to have to eat that is with a fork and knife. Yeah, I guess the moisture made these wraps kind of gooey, kind of bready. I didn't expect that. I thought they would still be intact, you know, because they were in a bag, in another bag. Okay, let's cool down a little bit. Now remember, there is no master class here, but here's my wrap. Got my pepperoni, marinated mushrooms, pineapple, and salsa instead of pizza sauce. I'm mad. A couple hours to dark. We'll see. You know, the hardest part about breaking camp in the rain is the rain. Yeah. We know how to break camp, but can we do it quickly? I hope so. And this poor tarp may have seen its better years. I mean, it's doing its job. And it's probably the operator. Come back up a little bit more. It's probably the operator. I got my hat hanging here. I'm getting some water dripping through here. This tape, the seam here needs to be taped or sealed. Some seam sealer. Other than that, it's doing pretty good. And it's really lightweight. It's called Lone Ranger. That's the brand name. Bought it years ago when all this lightweight tarping came out. Yeah, I'm going to take another bite. I'll be back in a bit. While you were gone, I got some of the heat out. I mean, I got some of the water out of it, but it got a little toasty on that side, you know. You got to try things. And this pan is so thin because it's an eating plate. It's not made for cooking. I've seen John Millwood do this with his plate. It kind of ran into the same problem. It's hot. It just doesn't. It's not made for cooking. Now, so what's the answer to that? You know, high quality cookware? No, I don't think so. not for the bush, or the camp, or the RV. See, now that's much better now. Even though it's a little bit burnt, I'll take that to gooey. And that's what it had out here. I guess maybe it got a little damp. It was just getting gooey. So what I want to do, put the rest of this in my wrap, because it's cooled off some now, and I'll probably be able to handle it better. But you see the problem with aluminum, it is so thin. Now it's lightweight, and it cooks fine, it fries okay, but it's really hot. It really gets hot. The answer to that might be, and what I want to show you next time, is a steel frying pan. Very old one. Again, it's one of those thrift store things. It's been used and abused, and I'm going to try to clean it up for you. And we'll see how that cooks. It's a little bigger than this. It's not as heavy as the one before. It's kind of in the middle. And it's got some junk on it. So, you know, we're going to have to clean it up and then re-season it. And then we'll be cooking on steel. Oh, yeah. That looks better to me. Yep. Yep. Let me get that salsa out the top. Yeah, it's firm now. It's got some, it firmed up a lot. I won't try to get too fancy with it. I'm just going to try to eat it. There's some big drops coming in here somewhere. Time to empty the tart. There you go. Now doing a little cooking in the rain today, in the woods, where everything is different on a rainy day. Now, I wouldn't have any trouble with putting this tarp up. I would do it different, of course, if I was spending the night and putting my hammock up. Of course, I would put the ridge line through on the bottom side, pull it up a lot higher than this, obviously. Hammock beneath it with drip lines on it. You get your sleeping bag in there, of course. And I got these tarp clips. You could hang things from the top, but if you had your ridge line run through here, you could run stuff on that. And that, I think that's the answer to anytime you're trying to work when it's raining. You're going to need a place to hang things underneath here and put up a nice firm ridge line so you can put your clothes on there to dry or whatever it's going to be. Hang stuff from it. Take control of your situation. This was just a kind of a, you know, in the woods. Whoa, holy. Okay then. That was a limb, see? Of some sort. I gotta get that off. Did you see that? Well, look at it. See if you can see it. It's way over there. Everything's holding in there in a minute. Now I'll show it to you when we get ready to put it all away. I'm not getting out there for it. Not now until I get my shoes back on. Now, you know, I wouldn't throw that water there if I had predators in this area. You know, the best bobcat, maybe. I mean, in the area that I'm in, there could be a black bear. We've had them spotted in this area before, but it's been very few. I mean, it's almost like the alligator count we've had. We're not really sure if people saw an alligator or hit an alligator. Somebody said they hit one crossing the road. There was some pictures of that. So we assume that had some validity to it. But alligators are not up this way. Hey, just a word to the wise there. Now you show me, you know, I'm showing you the using this little mini Bic to light the, you know, the stove with. A lot of people use their ferro rods and stuff. I never go in the woods with less than 3 ways to start a fire. I also have this little pack. It's a Uco. This is a nice tight fitting. You can't even buy this anymore. It's so old. Has a little striker plate on it. And I've added stuff to it. These are all these are waterproof matches supposedly. Some of them have the high burn capability. Get off of there so they can see it. See, you know, it has that kind of head on it. And then there, oh, stop it. Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Okay, and then there's some tinder in here as well. And there's another striker to go on the side in case it gets wet. And then it seals up relatively watertight. And I put that in there. So there's 2 ways to start a fire in my mess kit. And then I have one more in my pocket. So, and there's probably one more in that bag over there somewhere. So if I'm not carrying my fire rod, which I'm not today, I'm pretty comfortable with, you know, what I've got for backup. Friction fire on a day like today is not going to happen. Well, the rain is just about quit, hasn't it? Really let up. Might be a good time to get packed up and get out of here. There it is. There's that stick that fell, and it hit right about there, pretty close to my head. That's not super heavy. It's got a slug on it. Things I can't stand. But the tarp held up. It did its job. This looks just about as bad as anything I've gotten out of a stream, and that just came right off the tarp. So we're going to run that through a filter. We'll see how it goes. Kind of like milking a cow, huh? That's the way it ought to be running. More. Okay. Tried to backwash it a little bit. There we go. Okay. Sorry. Pull that back over here. Now you might get that every so often. You can backwash them, or I just blew, you know, I just blew through the thing backwards, and it moved some of the sediment back out into there. And I'm fine with that. I mean, it's my mouth, you know, so that's much better. My stool. This is a mini version of a stool. I have one that's a little bit bigger. Yeah, I'm gonna squat down a little bit so you can see me. But I found it just be a little too heavy, so I've gone back to the mini. You know, it really works quite well, actually. Come on loose. There we go. And then you just, once you get it completely loose, you just fold it like that. And it goes right back in the bag. I consider that the mark of a good manufacturer. If the bag or the tarp or whatever you have it fits back in its stuff sack, even though it's folded poorly. It's the same size, it's the same mass, it's the same volume. It should go right back in. Now, you know, this is soaking wet, and it's fighting me tooth and nail, but there we go. This is Mike B from Mike's Wild World. Had a great day out in the woods. A lot of rain, had some good food, made a few mistakes kind of along the way. Nothing's perfect, everything's trial and error sometimes. Setting up in the rain is a task that you need to get familiar with, because someday you may just have to do it. And it happens more often than you think. So go out and try it when it's not life and death situations, okay? This is Mike B from Mike's Wild World. I'll see you next week.